good Canadian public about the ongoing genocide for more than a year in occupied Gaza and the ongoing ethnic cleansing that has been going on in occupied Palestine for the past 76 years. Canada is complicit in this genocide. Canada has abstained at a UN General Assembly resolution calling for the end of the occupation. And that is a shame upon the government of Canada to abstain on such a critical UN vote, which was overwhelmingly voted positive by the rest of the world. Canada is facing international isolation as it continues to fund and protect the war criminals behind this genocide that is happening in occupied Palestine. There are doctors, American and Canadian, who have volunteered in Gaza in the past few months, and we are here to enlighten and inform you on the sliver of the hell that the Israeli terrorist regime has created for the people in Gaza, of which more than 1.2 million are women and children. It is a mass collective punishment campaign that aims to empty Gaza of its indigenous inhabitants. It is a war crime since day one, and it has not stopped after 1 year. And it is up to us to call on the Canadian politicians to boycott Israel, impose a two-way arms embargo, and sanction Israel until it complies with international law. This is Dr. Tanya Hash Hassan from the US, who volunteered in Gaza. This is a report that she talked at CNN, and we are here to give you a sliver of what's going on there. And apologies for the graphic content.
And Dr. Hassan, speaking of the evacuation orders in the north and now in the south we've seen today, what do you think is going to happen with this humanitarian crisis, with the additional factor of Gaza is about to enter the winter, which often brings heavy rain?
Kate, in all honesty, a humanitarian crisis is what you deal with when you have a hurricane, what you deal with when you have an earthquake, and a humanitarian response. This is my career. This is what I do for a living. Every single person who does this for a living will tell you the same thing. This is different. This is not a humanitarian crisis. Kate, and I'm going to say it very clearly for your viewers to hear, this is genocide. When 70% of the population that are killed are women and children, when the population is starved of food, of water, of medicine, when you have attacks, repeated attacks on all the hospitals, the clinics, the aid distribution sites, the humanitarian aid agencies that try to help. More UN workers have been killed in Gaza than in UN's history. When you have over 900 families that have been exterminated, that have been taken off of the civil registry, killed, when you have over 17,000 children that have lost one or both parents, when you have bakeries, aid distribution sites, churches, mosques, schools, and in the last 3 days, in the last 24 hours in fact, a hospital today that was bombed, as you just reported, the hospital where I personally was working, and I can tell you, they are working every second of every day to try and sustain life, when Israel's strategy and evidence on the ground suggests that they're doing the exact opposite. They were targeted today. There was a rehabilitation center that was started in the last 24 hours, and there was an orphanage that was targeted earlier this week. These are the types of places that are being targeted. And so it's really hard to hear it over and over and over again, framed in the way that it's being framed in the media, which frankly, Kate, is very misleading. It is very misleading. 365 days of this. Death tolls that are so far outdated, we have no idea how many people are killed, but I am genuinely afraid about what we're going to find out when the dust settles. History books will be written on this, and countries will have to reckon, media agencies will have to reckon with their major role in the genocide of an entire population and in the destruction of humanitarian law.
This was Dr. Tanya Hassan reporting for CNN after she had volunteered in Gaza for a few months. So it is a genocide, it is not a humanitarian crisis, and it is up to each and every one of us to call out our politicians and ask for Canada, the BC government and the federal government, to ban imports on Israel, just like we banned imports on South Africa until apartheid South Africa fell and there was a democracy set in its place. We need to impose sanctions on apartheid Israel until a true democracy is established in occupied Palestine. And this is our job as citizens of Canada. This is our job and our duty in front of all of humanity. And if you ask yourselves, what was I doing during the Holocaust? What was I doing during the apartheid South African regime? What was I doing when there were Jim Crow laws in the US? You're doing it now. You're doing it now. All right. On with the march. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine.